Well, I'm David Rowbottom. I'm president of the Orford and District Table Tennis Association.
I'm Andrew McGrath. I'm Secretary and Treasurer of the Orford and District Table Tennis Association.
Well, I started playing in 1966. But last year I was in secondary college and took on being president in 1973.
Late 1960s, probably 68, 69, started playing, then became secretary in yes, after David, yeah, a couple of years after David became president.
The social side of it is for me. It's competitive. It's a very competitive sport, but there's a good social side to it. And in our association, it's farm-based, and we see farmers that, okay, you're not living far away, but you never see each other, and we all have things in common.
And I agree, the same type of thing. It's the social side. You meet other people, get to talk to them. Otherwise, you don't sort of meet very many out in the country and that. I still like and enjoy playing too.
One of our neighbours, not very far away, asked myself and my older sister if we'd play table tennis. That's with the Broadwater Table Tennis Club. And so we played at the club level, and it was in 1972 when the management of the association, as I'll call them at the time, made some very unpopular decisions. And at the end of 1972, the Table Tennis Association had basically collapsed. So come the next year, the president didn't turn up at the meeting. The secretary arrived, handed in the books and went. There's only a handful of us there. We decided to try and keep it going. I became president, and it was 2 years after, I think, Andrew became secretary. It was a case of going to a meeting, and the association had basically collapsed. There's nobody much else. So that's why I took it on. And Orford's one of these associations where once you've got a job, that's nearly for the term of your natural life. And we have quite a number of players that spend a lot of time, a lot of years on the committee. We have a committee man at the moment that's had a couple of gaps in his, but he's been there for 33 years. It's another one pushing 20. Once you're on the association, there's something about it. People get on the committee, they stay there. They don't, nobody feel obliged. Well, nobody comes to meetings and say, I've had enough or anything. Everybody comes to the meeting and they stay. Yeah. And that's been going on for a long time. Well, since 1973.
And I was similar. I was at the meeting and they could not get a secretary. And so I took it on to keep the association going. It's the only sort of sporting organisation left in the Orford district that's still going. So, and it's been going since the 1950s, and like to keep it going as long as possible.
To me, I don't think there's one standout favourite memory because there's lots of them. And some of the best memories of the inter-association matches we've played against much bigger centres when we win and almost always win. And there's been some very good nights in that, and yeah, they bring back a lot of memories. But being involved as president, organising it, the comradeship with the other people, the members on the committee, it's always been good. They've always been very supportive, and I sort of, I know, there's just something about that keeps me going.
Probably inter-association matches where we used to play the likes of Hamilton, Warrnambool and those sorts of places, Portland, were quite an enjoyable nights. They were highlights, and often the Orford Association would defeat the likes of Hamilton or even some of the other associations on the night.
To me, it's the other people I'm involved with. You go to the table tennis and we're all friends, we're all mates, but we get out on the table, we're extremely competitive. But everybody gets on well, we all have common interests, and that's a real rewarding part of doing it.
Yeah, well, I agree with David, what he just said, so covers my thoughts as well. Yeah.
I think starting off again after it collapsed in 1972, basically caused by poor decision making from the committee at the time, getting it going again and building it up from, we had 4 teams. We built it up again from basically scratch. And I think that in itself's been the biggest achievement. And it's built up, it's become quite a strong competitive association. Normally over 30. We normally have between 7 and 12 teams. It's most years it's about 8. We've had 10 a few times, 12 at its peak.
No, we've had good support from some organisations in purchasing new tables and equipment. We've got really good equipment and all that sort of stuff now, which we didn't have at the start when we were restarting. We sort of only had very basic equipment. Now we've got world-class tables and that. Yeah.
We use Olympic game standard tables. When we first started, they were homemade out of chipboard, and we played in wool sheds. And now we're in the Orford Hall, our main venue. We hire the Warrnambool Table Tennis Stadium to cater for teams that are over there. So we have 3 teams in Warrnambool, and instead of them travelling away out to Orford, we hire that Warrnambool Table Tennis Stadium, which works out quite well. There's been lots of people, and over the years there's been a lot. Perhaps for me the most standout one would be Ian Wortley. He's been on the committee for 33 years with a couple of gaps within that, but he's been playing longer than I have. We have players that can be on the committee for a little while and go off again, but they keep playing. Our oldest player is 85 years old, very competitive player. We have players that play basically until they pass on. That's happened a bit. So we've had numbers of players that have been there for a long time and they just keep playing. It's hard to name them when I could nearly name them all.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think Ian Wortley's done a great job on the committee, and there's 2 or 3 others as well that are quite good there.
Gareth Spring coming along behind us. He's vice president at the moment, and I think he's been on the committee something like getting towards 20 years. It might be 20 years, and he puts in a good effort. But there's others that haven't been there as long, but still put in a lot of effort and a lot of support. That's a big thing. It's a support. If we didn't have that, I'm sure neither of us would be still there. I've got no qualms about thinking that it will keep going because there's people coming behind us that I'm sure will want to keep it going after we depart, and I hope that's not for a fair while yet.